Yes, you had your head about when you're stressed, it's hard to do the prayer.
I rose my hand to that, but I was going to say something. I can respond to that.
You rose your hand to that, but you had something else to say?
No, I rose my hand to something else.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to respond to what Mimi was saying about kind of like going through the hell and the thoughts with us.
Yeah.
I remember a while back last year, you gave us an assignment, and you said, the way you worded it was manage your self-talk. And I haven't stopped doing that one. So the way you explained it, for those who probably don't know, when you have that thought come up, like you just said, confront it, and then ask yourself, who said that?
Yes.
Yeah,
it's like what Mimi was saying earlier.
Exactly.
She said, well, I didn't say that. I knew I went. You're right about that. You got to ask.
And I've been doing that, and then the more I do that, it's so weird. Like, I remember even when you were talking a lot about the movie Revolver, and that scene where he's in the elevator and he sees the not you, and he sees that person in flesh. He was able to confront it and ask it questions and challenge it. And that other thing was going crazy and shaking up the elevator. Yeah. And he had no reaction. He was calm. He dropped the gun. He calm.
That is so deep.
Yeah.
That movie, you got to see Revolver. And that's what I'm telling you to do with thoughts. You got to see this thought and challenge it. And the way you challenge the thought is watch it. And it's going to scream at you. It's going to yell, what are you doing? You don't want to go. Don't let me go. Whatever, right? You challenge it by staying on it. Just look at it. Mm-hmm. Look at it, and in the present is where God is, and He'll take care of it.
And then one more thing I wanted to say. A while back, I don't know when it was, but I remember it was Doug and Sean. We were having a conversation, and the topic came up, how do you feel when you're walking down the streets of LA and you see a homeless person, going crazy, they're on drugs, and they're just talking. I think Doug mentioned saying he sees that, and he's like, well, that's not me, and he keeps going. He doesn't reflect on it. And I remember Sean said it, and I've never forgotten it because it's so true. He will see that homeless person, he says, no, that's me. That's exactly who I am and how I embody myself within me. Because that person, that homeless person who's yapping, they're going through the thoughts, but they're just verbalizing it. They're saying it. So whatever's going on in here, they say it, and we do the same stuff. We just don't say it, because if you walk around, and I even did it one time, I was like, well, let me just see how this goes. So whatever thought I had, I just said it. I just said the thoughts, and I heard it, and I'm like, this is so ridiculous. This is dumb. Why am I telling myself this? Why do I think something bad is going to happen? Right now, when you were going to give me the mic, I started, feeling nervous. I'm like, why am I nervous? It's so dumb.
Yeah.
And then I just started asking, myself, who's saying that? And it's insane how that insanity is inside of us, just really shaking us up.
And I want you to be, all of you, to be aware that along this journey that you're taking, there are going to be people jealous of your journey. They're going to pretend that they're with you. They're going to pretend that they're doing the silent prayer. They're going to pretend they're working on themselves. But they're in it for something else. They're in it to promote their job, their business, or whatever. They're in it for another reason. And when they get what they think they want it, they're going to try to leave it, and they're going to try to bring you with them. Do not follow them. That's still the demons that made a home in them. And the demon does not, it dwells in people. It dwells in human bodies, and it does not want to depart. And I love when you said challenge it. You got to challenge it. You got to stay with it. Stay with it. Stay with it. No matter how the pain, overwhelming pain, you stay with it. I remember I was doing a radio show up in Oregon at one time, and it was so bad. Because I didn't know what I know now about the ego, right? And the pain was so great. I would leave that job. I'm like, I ain't never come back here. I hate this job. Like Mimi, I ain't never going. And I would get home, and I would be so in pain I couldn't even eat. I would just fall out on the couch. And then I would say, you know what, God, I don't understand this, but you let it happen, so whatever. But I did not understand it was ego death. I just knew I had all these overwhelming thoughts and pain. And I couldn't talk to anybody about it because everybody else was hooked, addicted. And so I had to go through it alone. And I'm so glad I did now, even though I didn't even know what I was going through. And so I know overwhelming pain. You ever had the kind of pain, all you do is get off work and lay up on the couch? You don't want to eat, you don't want to sleep, you don't want to talk, you don't want nothing. And you're hoping the next day never came. But it did. Anyway, did I see your hand first? Okay, go ahead. About what do you do when you're so stressed you can't pray? Or did you have for something else?
No, for a little both. There's something else I wanted to say too, but for that I did. This week at my job, my boss's boss contacted me. I need to have a meeting with you in 30 minutes. And I'm like, what is my boss's boss?
And right away the devil tell you, uh-oh, you fired.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Uh-oh, you fired. And right away you're like, oh, God. You start acting like you fired.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
I think real quick, I went through every thought and emotion I ever been through. And so I felt like I was so overwhelmed but I knew I needed to go sit down and relax for a moment. So I'm sitting there shaking, like, what happened? When does your boss's boss need to talk to you? So, but I did it for maybe a minute. And then I had the meeting, and I felt so calm, I couldn't even believe it.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's just like, you're right, people are jealous. Somebody told my boss's boss that I wasn't doing something, and they had to understand what was going on. So it worked out perfect, but it was just like a maze of, it was a mess.
Yeah.
And
Everybody going, go ahead.
I was going to say to Mimi, one thing I learned is that when you think you got it, you ain't got it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's like a little kid, hurry to grow up. Just be a kid.
And there's nothing to think that you got. To think you got something is deception. What is it that you got? And then the moment you think you got it, he's going to overwhelm you with something else to bring you down. And you're like, well, I thought I had it. In wisdom, in understanding, there's no thinking. Zero thinking. You only think about practical things. Go to work, or what am I going to have for dinner, or this or that, but you don't think about spiritual things. And you are a spirit. There's nothing to think about. And even with practical things, God calls you to think about what you want about those things. We're not even in control of that. Even to move your hand up and down, you ain't in control. It's not me that's making my hand go up and down. We absolutely have no control over anything. That's why people that control try to control others. If my husband don't do what I want, I'm out of here. If my husband don't do what I want, I'm taking his children. And I don't care if I'm destroying the children, as long as I destroy him. Isn't that amazing? Try to control. Let go. Finally let go. Joe, I see your hand. No, right here.
You ever have, during your spiritual journey, have you ever had these moments where it's almost like a light bulb comes on and God gives you an understanding about something, and you almost feel dumb when you think about how long you might have been struggling with it or whatever, but it just comes on so clear, and it's like a revelation that you get. Have you ever had that happen to you? And you almost feel like silly that you was believing a lie or something that wasn't true. And also, too, another thing is I see that it can happen in an instant. Immediately, you can change the way you think about something. It doesn't have to be a long journey or a long struggle. You know how the white people say it's a process.
Right.
It don't have to be like that.
It doesn't. It's happening at the blinking of an eye.
It can happen in a second if you just drop the thought of it.
Absolutely. I'll be driving down the road sometime and I realize something. And when I say I don't mean I make myself realize, but I realize something. I'll be like, wow, I didn't know that. I just didn't know. I just didn't know. Just like all of us waking up now, we didn't know how crazy those things were we did. We didn't know that we were not in control. We didn't know it wasn't us. We didn't know we couldn't make anything work. We just don't know. That's why you must die from the ego. Intellect is evil, and the intellect hate God. That makes sense?
Yes.
When you think about how do you deal with it, when you're so stressed, you can't do the prayer.
I haven't had that experience lately, but in the beginning, I sat in it. I just sat there, and I'm like, I'm just gonna do it no matter what. Cause I was really, I've been on a journey to find God, and I didn't, like you just said, I didn't know nothing.
Yeah.
I knew nothing.
Just
So
didn't
I was
know.
thirsty. I was like, whatever I could do. I tried everything else. I was thirsty for it and to find out, and it did. I was in silent prayer, and in an instant, I seen God revealed to me that these thoughts that I was having wasn't me, and I was able to be. And I looked at it, and it's amazing. You have to experience. You have to see for yourself. You
Yes.
have to see for yourself, and when you see for yourself, you are like, "What the? How did I
What
live
the-"
like that?"
You
Yeah.
gotta sit in it.
Yeah.
You gotta sit in it. To the person that sent me that note this morning, when you feel stressed, it's not even you that's stressed. This thing inside of you is stressed, and it's overreacting. It's talking to you. It's feeling that way, but it's not you. So sit in it. Go through it. It's like being on a boat and the storm come and the water shaking, and you're like, oh, Lord, what's going to happen? And you just sit there in the boat and let whatever happen, happen. Just sit in it. Sit in it. Amazing.